Creating the modern-day video game is an extremely complex process.
When I started out, 3 or 4 people could make a video game. Now it's teams of up, 30 to 40, sometimes 50 people, not including sales staff and stuff like that, are going to the development of these products.
The complexity is a result of the one key design element present in any successful video game. That element is realism. All aspects of game development relate back to this concept. The challenge is to design from scratch an entire world, a world that looks and feels so real the player will get lost in it. To accomplish this task, game developers must define every aspect of the player's gaming experience, while at the same time trying to make the technology seem invisible.
One of the goals of a good game design is that the user becomes completely immersed in the experience, and so that they're not thinking that they're interacting with a computer, they're not thinking that they're they're fiddling with the joystick. Okay, the technology is so seamless and the design is so seamless that they just get into character and they completely lose sight of their surroundings and everything.
Ian Verscheer is a lead software developer for Radical Entertainment here in Vancouver. Radical is a software developing house which is contracted to create video games for companies like Nintendo. What Verscheer was just describing is called gameplay. Gameplay refers to the responsive relationship between the technology and the player. Well-designed gameplay allows the player to suspend their disbelief and to become fully immersed into the fantasy world. To sustain this immersion into fantasy, game developers must design good gameplay. They must also make the game look and feel as realistic as possible, while providing a strong motivation to play.
There has to be some sort of conflict, challenge, reward system which drives you through and challenges you without frustrating you. And you need to have action. Characters have to move, they have to jump, they have to run, they have to shoot, they have to do all kinds of amazing things that the people who play these things sort of expect.
Ground ball to the shortstop.
Meeting, and in most cases exceeding players' expectations, is crucial to maintaining a sense of realism within a game.
Are the things that you would expecting to have happen? All the little details. If the guy hits a big long fly ball to left field and you're on defense, well, if you're running back, you're going to want to climb the wall to try and take a last stab at it. And if you can't do that, you're going to go, why can't I do that? And all of a sudden you're going to be pulled out of that reality.
Stephen Rechschnappner is an executive producer at Electronic Arts Canada. EA is the world leader in the production of sports video games, and Rechschnappner is the man behind Triple Play 98, one of this year's top-selling video games.
As an executive producer, I try and figure out what sort of products that I think we should be making, and work with the group, work with our producers within our group, and really first figure out what it is we think is right for the market and we think that we're capable of doing a good job with, and then figuring out how to build it.
Building a video game can cost well over $1 million and take almost 2 years to complete. So deciding what type of game to make and matching it with market demand is the first step in the process. It's no surprise that Electronic Arts is in the sports video game business. The sports genre is the second most popular on the market, with action shooting games topping the list.
There's a whole process we go through which challenges the person or the people that are promoting an idea to think through, is this the right idea? Do we have an idea within the idea, either a technology or a design idea or a visual idea that's going to make this product better than other products like it?
Tonight's exhibition game is between the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Yankees. Well, let's get on with the ball game tonight.
Once the production team nails down an idea for a new sports game, the process of defining the player's experience begins.
So what you have to do is figure out the big picture. You have to figure out the tone of your game. You have to figure out what kind of experience you want to create. It's easy because you start with the X on the wall. You know where you're aiming towards. You know what the world looks like. You know what you want your characters to look like. Then each of the people that run each area of the project, your lead software engineer, your lead artists, your lead animators, your lead sound designer and musical composers, they all start to come up with the elements that help fulfill that vision.
3, 2, 1, go!
Need for Speed 2. It's another EA top-selling video game. The game is part of the driving simulation genre, a genre which has been a leader in capturing realism in video games.
Need for Speed is all about a fantasy that a lot of us have, which is to be able to drive the most expensive, the fastest cars in the world with no consequence.
To accurately reflect the experience of driving an exotic racing car, designers worked on several areas. They had to make each car look, feel, and sound authentic, as well as design racetracks which challenge the player.
We tried to create an international flavor with Need for Speed 2, so we have different countries of the world represented in an abstract sense. And we have a Greek island track, we've got a Nepal high mountain track, we've got the local Vancouver environment, and also Proving Grounds, which is located somewhere in northern Europe.
The racetracks were first sketched out on paper and then later transferred to computer so the designers could test drive the track to see if it was fun and provide a challenge.
After we've driven the track enough that we know that it's the one and that we want to use that layout, we work up the terrain that surrounds the track itself. So we'll create the hills, the village, the rest of the tunnels, and all of the other events that go with the road itself.
Pacific Spirit is the representation of Vancouver to fit in with our international theme. We're heading down from Whistler here, back into the city, over the Second Narrows Bridge, down into the Cassiar Connector, get onto the overpass. On occasion you'll join up with the SkyTrain racing along. This is the BC Place Tunnel, and then it opens up into the Hastings Street area, and then you come out into Stanley Park, which is our downtown park. There are speed signs indicating to slow down here because of some tricky turns. Go under the trestle and open up onto the Lionsgate Bridge.
Next, the designers worked on trying to make each of the 8 different cars look as realistic as possible.
The manufacturers provide us with detailed drawings in some cases, even CAD engineering files, very accurate dimensions of their cars. Once we have the engineering data from the manufacturers, we create a wireframe of the car. Very, very simple, but what we do is then put the photographs, we drape them over top of the car, and it looks very much like the actual car when you see it in Need for Speed 2.
The next crucial design element is the simulation of the car's behavior. The challenge was to recreate the actual feeling of driving each individual car.
We were able to put in many of the information such as how the suspensions of the various cars are tuned. Certain cars are tuned with a hard suspension, others with soft. This controls the body roll and pitch when the car goes through its paces in a turn or accelerating and braking.
The final ingredient added to the mix was the sound of the game. The EA team used actual engine audio and an elaborate mix of background music to enhance the emotional experience of the game.
If you're driving really hard, really fast, you make it to the front of the pack, the music will be really pumping and intense. If you've fallen back and are taking more of a Sunday drive and watching the scenery in the game, it'll become more subdued. It basically just helps to underlie the emotions underneath what's going on in the gameplay, just as it happens in a movie soundtrack.
Realistic audio was also a crucial element in the design of Triple Play 98. The sound engineers recreated hundreds of different bat sounds. And they also captured the emotion of the crowd. But the audio which really stands out and is central to the realistic experience of the game is the play-by-play announcing.
He tracked that ball very well off the bat, and he camped under it and made an easy play of it.
1 out, 1 on. It's a packed house in Toronto, Buck. It's a fun atmosphere when every seat is full.
The whole play-by-play, making it real, it's really easy to make it sound goofy by saying the wrong comment at the right time or having the right comment at the wrong time. So one of the things that was really difficult was just tuning that so you had enough of it, but at the same time it wasn't annoying.
Hit to right field. Out.
But there is an irony here. The sense of realism created in triple play baseball is hyper-real, even though some of the most advanced technology, such as motion capture, is used to nail down the intricacies of player movement and style. What is being defined as real is an experience mediated by the aesthetic form of the television broadcast.
He got him!
Originally, we set out in the first year of triple play to make it not like TV. But what we found was there was so much information that you needed that if you were to have the balls and strikes up on the scoreboard way out in right field, you didn't see it. And if you were to depend on information coming from the public announcer, which basically only announces who's up and what position they're playing, there's a whole bunch of stuff you're not filling in. So that's why we started to gravitate towards the television experience.
Finally, the EA production team strives to capture in all their games that essential quality of any real sport, which makes you feel good when you play.
When you're snowboarding, when you're carving a big front and side turn, it just feels good. Or when you make contact with the golf ball correctly, that's what keeps you coming back. And if you can reproduce those things within a game, you let go a jump shot and nothing but net. And if the sound's there, and if you really believe it, it's just a cool feeling. It's beyond competition. It's just like, wow, that's really neat.
Next, when Insert Coin returns, we'll examine the culture of video game play, and we'll take a look at video game marketing.